Good morning, class. Okay, so today we're going to have only a review about the five topics that you're going to. Just a moment. Um, I think it's now posted on your group chat the the breakdown of topics that are going to be given to you during your midterm examination. Have you had it already? Have you seen them? Have you already seen the breakdown of topics? So we are going to be discussing, or we are going to make a review about the different topics that hopefully might be given to you. So please join the question and answer para at least ma-awake kayo this morning. And aside from that, para you will also scan your notes. No, this is the reason why we have the review today, para at least review na rin to, para nag-aaral na rin kayo, no? So please get your notes, whatever you have there. Get your notes, and then I will be randomly throwing you questions, okay? So you need to be ready to answer the questions I'm going to give you. Random lang, tatawagin ko kayo isa-isa kung sino yung makita ko, and then I'm going to check. With that, I'm also going to check your attendance. Okay? So are you ready? Okay, so dali. Ano ba yun? So sa breakdown ng topics nyo, from your nervous system, 15 items from your nervous system and from CNS, and 15 from your PNS is going to be asked. Sa general census naman, 10 questions sa special, and 10 questions sa general. So endocrine will be 15, sa blood will be 15, and 20 from your CVS. Okay? So we will start with the central nervous system. I'm trying to formulate some questions for you, and hopefully this can guide you. So I will also be reviewing you with your answers last time, kasi hindi ko pa naman na ibabalik sa inyo yung sa nervous system, no? So, okay. So ready? Ready na lahat? Okay, so let's go now to the nervous system. Open your cameras. Open your cameras, please. Guys, open your cameras. Open your cameras. Okay, first question goes to, we will be in the central nervous system. So open your notes sa central nervous system. Okay. Hmm. This is section 21 and 23, right? So I'm going to ask. Okay. Okay. Joshua, Renzo, first question. Active conducting element of the nervous system. I'm not going to, I'm immediately channeling the question to the next if you cannot answer immediately, okay? So you need to answer me immediately, like in 3 to 5 seconds. Okay. I'm giving a chance now to Joshua. Active conducting element of the nervous system.
Neurons po.
Neurons, very good. When I'm going to give you a question with exception, you have to give me your answer from the choices I'm going to give you. Okay? Rhombencephalon. If I say rhombencephalon, there will be one exception here. Okay, so rhombencephalon except. Where are your cameras? I can see you. I only see Joshua. Okay. Rhombencephalon except. Elijah Gomez. Rhombencephalon except. Cerebellum, pons, medulla oblongata, cerebrum. Rhombencephalon, very good. Cerebrum. Okay. What do you call the Center for Hearing and Olfaction? Center for Hearing and Olfaction. Anyone? What's the center? Julia.
Olfactory po.
Olfactory. Center for Hearing and Olfaction. What is the lobe? What is the lobe? Okay, Luterte.
Temporal lobe po.
Temporal lobe. Very good. What is the function of the thalamus? Function of the thalamus are the following. Integration of sensory information for emotional behavior, reasoning. It is a relay center for sensory impulses. Yuson.
Ano po? Relay Center for Sensory Impulses po.
Relay center for sensory impulses. Very good. Okay, next question. We already know the fissures, right? So the fissures would be between the frontal and parietal lobe. Between the frontal and parietal lobe. Mendoza. Mendoza Jexi. That between the frontal and parietal lobe. Where's your frontal? Where's your parietal? What's central? You have to complete it. Central sulcus. Okay? It's a central sulcus of Rolando. Very good. Okay. There are two different areas which is pertaining to the speech area. Which one from the two is the sensory speech area? Wernicke's or Broca's? Upod.
Wernicke's po, ma'am.
Wernicke's. Very good. Okay. Let's go to a clinical correlation. The injury to this structure will manifest as uncontrolled, aimless movement. A, the thalamus. B, the hypothalamus. D, the pons. C, the basal ganglia. Injury to this structure will manifest as aimless movement. Daniela Supnet. What's your answer? Basal ganglia. Very good. Okay. Where do you think is the core? Sorry. Where do you think is the cerebrospinal fluid produced? Cerebrospinal fluid is produced where? Um, just a moment. Malvin Salvador.
Sa ano po, yung choroid plexus po.
Very good. In the choroid plexus. Okay. This transmits the action potential from the central nervous system to the skeletal muscles and skin. Is it the somatic efferent, the somatic afferent, the visceral efferent, or the cranial sensory nerve? Again, this transmits action potential from the central nervous system. Okay, Nicole Soriano. Somatic efferent, somatic afferent, visceral efferent, cranial sensory nerve. Nicole, what's your answer? Nicole, you raise your hand. Somatic?
Efferent po.
Very good. Okay. So we have some functional areas, like somewhere there's a functional area somewhere that at the occipital lobe, and you visual area. Okay. So you will not. I'm pretty sure you will not forget this, because this was already taken up during our muscular topic, no? And we will be talking here of the neurotransmitter, which is very important, which plays a very important role in muscle contraction. What is that neurotransmitter? Del Rosario, Jaiseline. That neurotransmitter which plays a very important role to in muscle contraction. Del Rosario, Jaiseline, what's your answer? Jaiseline, what's your answer? You raise your hand. Who else? Just a moment. Okay, Reyes, Jace, Marian. Reyes, Jace, Marian, what's your answer? Acetylcholine. Very good. Okay, so the acetylcholine is a neurotransmitter which plays a very important role in muscle contraction. Without acetylcholine, no muscle contraction can happen, or there will be weakness of the muscles. Okay, next question. We were talking of the we all know that the basic unit, or the basic unit or characteristic of the cell or the nervous system is the neuron. But there are also some supporting elements in the central nervous system. Which one from the supporting elements of the nerve of the central nervous system will act as an immune cell, or which is very important for the immune response? Sith Ali Manuel.
Microglia.
Manuel. Microglia. Very good. Okay. Okay, listen to the question carefully. So listen to the question carefully. There will be, exception here. Okay. It provides protection to the spinal cord, except, okay? It provides exception to the spinal cord except cerebrospinal fluid, arachnoid matter, vertebra, skull. Provides protection to the spinal cord except cerebrospinal fluid, arachnoid matter, the skull, or the vertebra. Gatilo Gorain. The skull. Very good. So remember, when you answer questions, you have to read the question or the question complete. Remember, the question here is the spinal cord. So that is why the exception here would be the skull. Why? Why is the skull the exception here? Yes, Rain.
Because the skull protects the brain po.
Very good. Because the skull is the one that protects the brain, no? So that is why the exception there would be the skull. Very good. Okay. There, we were discussing about cervical and the lumbar enlargement, okay? We were also discussing about the different nerves and the plexuses. So I'm going to ask you, where does the nerve supply of the lower extremities comes from? Where does the nerve supply of the lower extremity come from or arises from? Bunag Sigmund.
Lumbar enlargement po, ma'am.
From the lumbar enlargement. So remember those, ha? Kailangan yung malaman kung ano yung mga enlargement na yon and what it supplies, no? Their innervations. Those innervations. Okay. What are the composition of the peripheral nervous system? Give me the composition of the peripheral nervous system. There is in the nervous system, we have central nervous system and peripheral nervous system. What are the components of the peripheral nervous system? Gomez Elijah. You may call a friend. Okay, but still there is earth lacking. Okay, Jaiseline Del Rosario.
Ma'am, yung ano po ba yun? Cranial nerve, spinal nerve, and autonomic nervous system.
Yes, that was the spinal core. That is the cranial nerve and the spinal nerve and the ANS. No, so remember those structures that composes the peripheral nervous system is the spinal nerve, the cranial nerve, and the autonomic nervous system. Okay? Because remember, where does the brain and the spinal cord belong? Where does the brain and the yes, Jexi Mendoza. Mendoza, Jexi. Where does the brain and the spinal cord? Very good. It belongs to the central nervous system. Okay. Which root of the spinal nerve contains the sensory fibers? Which root from the spinal nerve contain the sensory fiber? The ventral root, the dorsal root, the anterior horn, or the posterior horn? Paat Joe Shane. Paat. The dorsal root. So, okay, so remember the root of the spinal nerve that is containing the sensory, because we have also motor, correct? So when you say sensory, it is the dorsal root that contains the sensory fibers. Okay. So, sino yung tinawag ko kanina? Paat, no? Joe Shane, right? Okay. Okay, let's go now to another question. Okay. I'm going to ask you the exception. You listen carefully. The group which is composing the cervical plexus except the cervical plexus. This belongs to the cervical plexus except C1, C2, C5, C4. Hmm. Liwag, Sydney.
C5 po, ma'am.
C5. Very good. Because what belongs to the cervical plexus? Rahana? Naomi?
C1 to
What
C4 po.
belongs to the cervical C1 to C4? Very good. Okay. Another question. Let's go to the cranial nerve. Okay, let's review the cranial nerve. Everyone, review the cranial nerve. So we have cranial nerve number one. What's cranial nerve, everyone? What's cranial nerve number one? Everyone, I want everyone to answer. Because this is a review. Just say your answer.
Sorry.
Sorry. And then, again, everyone.
Optic.
And then, what's the
Kilomotor.
third?
Oculomotor.
Fourth. Fourth.
Cochlear.
Clear. Five.
Trigeminal.
Number six.
Abducens.
What's number? Abducens.
Abducent po.
Number seven.
Facial.
Facial. Facial. No? Facial. Number eight.
Vestibulocochlear.
Vestibulocochlear.
Cochlear. Number nine.
Glossopharyngeal.
Glossopharyngeal. Number 10.
Very good.
Vagus nerve. 11.
Accessory.
Accessory. And 11. 12.
Hypoglossal.
Glossal. Okay. Those cranial nerves, from those cranial nerves, which is responsible for or the innervation for the equilibrium and hearing? Which cranial nerve? Equilibrium and hearing. Please, Dizon, Lawrence.
Vestibulocochlear.
Vestibulocochlear and what number?
Number 8 po. 8 po.
Number 8. Number 8. Very good. Lawrence, what's your family name?
Dizon po.
Lawrence?
Surname po ba?
Dizon. Dizon. Okay. Very good. Okay. What is from the cranial nerves that we have mentioned, what is the motor innervation to the muscles of the tongue? Motor innervation to the muscles of the tongue, Gatilogo. Ray.
Glossopharyngeal po.
Glosso.
Pharyngeal.
Pharyngeal. What number?
9 po.
Panindigan mo yung sagot mo? Rain?
Opo.
Are you sure?
Yes po.
Okay. Is it glossopharyngeal? Anyone? Maybe ang na ba?
Hypoglossal po.
And what is hypoglossal?
Number
Cranial
7.
nerve number? Oh,
Ay, number 12 po. 12.
okay. So it's cranial nerve number 12. So remember, it's not the it's not the, oh my God, the other one. It is the cranial nerve number 12. Okay? So the other cranial nerve, the glossopharyngeal, it's not the glossopharyngeal, but it is the hypoglossal, okay? That is the motor innervation to the muscles of the tongue, okay? So take note of that. So it was Alconaba Althea, right? Who gave me the answer, correct?
Yes po.
Okay. So correct those kung mali yung kanina, just correct it. Okay, so let's go now to another question. So we were also aware of the sympathetic and parasympathetic response or responses of the autonomic nervous system. Okay. Which one from the following, okay? Which one from the following is a parasympathetic response of the ANS or the autonomic nervous system? Is it A, pupil dilatation, B, copious sweating, C, pupil constriction, D, increased heart rate? Tehana Naomi.
Pupil constriction po.
Pupil constriction. Very good. It is pupil constriction. Okay? All the rest, increased heart rate, copious sweating, and pupil dilatation, that is a sympathetic response, no? Okay, let's go now to the other questions. Ano ba itong questions kong ginawa? Okay. There are some nerve fibers that are forming some plexuses, no? And we all know there are four major nerve fibers that form these plexuses. So, what are these plexuses? These are group of nerve fibers that form plexuses, except I'm asking now the exception. Except for what? I am having the same people here raising their hand. Where are the others? Munam, Sigmund. Sigmund.
Thoracic po, ma'am.
Thoracic. Thoracic is the exception because it is the only one that does not form plexuses. Okay. The spinal nerves is composed of A, 12 pairs, B, 24 pairs, C, 31 pairs, D, 31 only. Bakat Mariel. Bakat Mariel.
31 pairs po.
Very good. It's 31 pairs. Remember, pairs yan ha. Hindi yang 31 lang. The spinal nerves is composed of 31 pairs. Next, what do you call the largest nerve in the body? Salvador Malvin. Malvin? Noiles. Julia Noiles.
Sciatic nerve po ba? Sciatic nerve.
Sciatic nerve. Very good. The sciatic nerve is the largest nerve in the body. Okay. Ano pa ba? Okay, let's go now to a clinical correlation. This is a disease condition that is caused by a damage of the anterior horn cells because of a viral infection or due to a viral infection or due to a virus. Sis. Manuel. Oh, yes. Infantile paralysis or what's the other name?
Poliomyelitis.
Poliomyelitis. Okay. Class, you know what? There are 67 of you here in my class today. Only 21 are answering the questions. Saan yung iba? Tulog pa ba? Okay. Another question. As you join kasi this will be helping you. If you're going to join, really, I promise you, you will be able to get those lalo na dito lalo na dito sa nervous system. Because I'm the one who made the questions. Kung ayaw niyong mag-join, bahala kayo. Okay, let's go now to other questions. What do you call the fissure between the frontal and parietal lobe superiorly and the temporal lobe inferiorly? Juanico, Calroy.
Lateral Sylvian fissure.
Yes, the lateral sylvian fissure. Okay, next. What is the motor speech? What do you call the motor speech area? Mendoza, Jexi. Mendoza? Okay, another Serapio, Andre?
Brodmann's area 44 and 45.
And what is that one? What do you call that one? There's the one who discovered the motor speech area. Who is that neurologist who discovered that
Broca's.
motor area? Broca's area. Andre, what's your family name?
Serapia po, Doc.
Serapio. Very good. Okay. Okay. What are the cranial nerves that contains the sensory fibers? The cranial nerves that contains the sensory fibers. Palroy.
1.
1, 2, and 8. Very good. Okay. So we will talk now of the meninges. Which one from the three meninges is the outermost part? Outermost part. Naomi.
Dura mater po.
Dura mater. Very good. What about innermost part? Liwag, Sydney.
Pia mater.
Pia mater. Okay. So, moment. Ubusan ako ng tanong. Ano pa ba? Hmm. What do you call the fissure between the cerebrum and cerebellum? Lopez. John Daniel.
Transverse fissures po.
Transverse fissure. Okay. Again, what do you call that functional area around the calcarine fissure? Functional area around the calcarine fissure. What do you call it? Yes, Gatilog, no, Supnet, Daniela. Visual area. Where can you find a visual area? Where can you find a visual area? Paulo, Cassandra.
Occipital lobe po.
Occipital lobe. Very good. Okay. So each of you has already 1 point, no? Yung nag-answer. Next question. Hindi lang. So let's mention the different main parts of the neuron. You have there the cell body, the axon, and the dendrites. Now, what do you call the covering of the axon? What do you call the covering of the axon? Magtanong, Jamaica.
Myelin sheath po.
Myelin sheath. Very good. Okay. This is the type of process of the neuron which will transmit impulses towards the cell body. Sith Ali. Sith.
Different.
I'm asking of the process.
Different or dendrites.
The dendrites. I'm talking here of the dendrites. Okay. From the embryological divisions of the brain, which one arises from the forebrain? Is it the telencephalon, the cerebral peduncles, or the metencephalon? Which one arises from the forebrain? Telencephalon, cerebral peduncles, or metencephalon? Or Bisonisha?
Telencephalon.
Very good. It's the telencephalon. Okay. This is a fissure that divides the cerebrum into two hemispheres, the right and the left hemisphere. Serapio Andre.
Sagittal fissure po.
That's the.
Sagittal po.
Are you look into your notes. It's dividing the brain, the hemisphere of the cerebrum into right and left. Sure of your answer? Look into your notes again. Georgine de los Reyes.
Longitudinal fissure.
Very good. It's the longitudinal fissure. Okay, next question. um, Again, this is responsible for speech production. What area? What Brodmann's area is responsible for speech production? Reyes, Jays.
Broca's area po.
This is the Broca's area. What about the for the comprehension? This is a sensory speech area. Sensory speech area. Cabrera RJ.
Wernicke's area po.
Wernicke's area. Very good. Okay. So we were talking of the plexuses, right? So you have there the cervical plexus and the lumbar, the brachial plexus and the lumbar plexus. So when we talk of the cervical plexus, it is from C1 to C4. And then this is giving off this very important nerve for the very important nerve for that innervates the diaphragm. Alconaba, Althea.
Phrenic nerve po.
Phrenic nerve. So phrenic nerve arises from the cervical plexus, which which innervates the diaphragm, which is a very important muscle for respiration. Okay. When we talk of the brachial plexus, what is the brachial plexus composed of? Literate Zoe.
It gives off large nerves po.
Which one?
Large nerves
What
po.
are the components of the brachial plexus? I'm talking of the components here. Zoe. What are those? Okay. Mariel del Rosario.
Ma'am, yung ano po, C5 to C8 nerves po, tsaka po yung first thoracic.
Very good. It is from C5. So the component of the brachial plexus is from C5 to C8 plus the thoracic number 1. Okay? So that is the component. Okay, so um, dali lang guys ha. I'm still looking for other questions. Oh, yun lang. Okay, yun lang ang sa yun lang sa nervous system. Okay? So I hope you can get the questions, no? I was only asking you the basic. Let's go now to what was our next topic again? Ano yung topic natin last time? Let's go to the general and special senses. Yes, Naomi. Let's go now to the general and special senses. I gave you, di ba sa general senses natin, we were talking of just let me get my notes. Okay. So we were talking of the different receptors, and then we were talking of the different pathways. So let's try to recall those pathways, no? So you have ascending fiber tracts. So when you say ascending fiber tracts, this is carrying the stimulus that is coming from the different parts of the body going to where does it go? The sensor, when you say ascending fiber tracts, what are these tracts? These are carrying the sensations or the impulses that is coming from the different parts of the body, and it is carried towards where? Saan ang termination usually nito? Yes, Rain. Where does it go? Where does it transmit the impulses? Rain, Alisa.
Sa
Duran,
brain po.
Estra. Sa brain. Very good. Okay. So let's go now to the different pathways. So when we talk of the pathway that is for pain and temperature, except for the head region, what is that pathway? What is that pathway? Reyes James.
Lateral spinothalamic tract po.
Natural spinothalamic tract. What do you call the pathway for conscious proprioception? Conscious proprioception. Supnet Daniela. Daniela. Supnet. Eliza May Santos. Santos Eliza May.
Pathway po.
Which one?
Dorsal column pathway po.
Dorsal column pathway. What was your family name again?
Santos po.
Your Santos. Santos, right? Eliza, right?
Yes po.
Okay. Huh. What is a pathway? Give me the two pathways for unconscious proprioception. That is supplying the lower limb. Supplying the lower limb. Ramsel.
Posterior spinocerebellar tract, anterior spinocerebellar tract.
The lateral spino. The again.
Posterior
You answer.
spinocerebellar tract po, tsaka spinocerebellar tract.
Okay. It is the posterior spinocerebellar tract and the anterior spinocerebellar tract. So remember, para hindi kayo malito, always remember when it comes to the balance, to the movement, balance, it is going to the cerebellar, no? Ang tract niya from the spine, no? Going to the cerebellar, not to the cerebrum. Okay? Not to the cerebrum. So always remember when it comes to proprioception, the tract there would be cerebellar. Okay? So what about the distribution? What about the information that is carried to the cerebellum coming from the upper limbs? What is the tract? What is the tract? Hennessy Bautista.
Cerebellar tract po.
Which one again?
Cuneo cerebellar tract po.
Cerebellar tract. Very good. Okay. When we say stereognosia, ano nga yung stereognosia? Yes, Mariel.
Ability
Ano ang
ability to recognize familiar objects po by touch with eyes closed.
Okay, so this is the ability to recognize an object or a familiar object with our eyes closed. That is stereognosia. But if it is impaired, you call it, Naomi?
Stereognosia po.
Stereognosia. Very good. Okay. So let's go now to so remember those tracks, ha? Okay, then you have there, what do you call the pathway for the crude touch or light touch? Pathway for crude touch or light touch. The Kuno. Zenric.
Anterior spinothalamic tract.
Anterior spinothalamic tract. Are you sure? I just want you to confirm it. The Kuno.
Yes.
Okay, very
Yeah.
good. So you're sure it's good. It's 1 point. Okay? That is the anterior spinothalamic tract. Okay. Where is the termination? Okay, so where is the termination for the termination for the pain and temperature pathway? Palroy Juanico. Post central gyrus or Palroy. Yeah, it is correct. Post central gyrus or Broadman. What Broadman's area? 312. Okay. Okay, so let's go now to the yes. Okay, let's go now to from the both fasciculus, there is what we call as fasciculus gracilis and fasciculus conatus. These are nerve fibers that will carry impulses, no? Carrying impulses either coming from the lower extremities or the upper extremity, right? So which from the fasciculus, which of the different fascicles or fasciculus is carrying the nerve fibers, carrying the impulses going coming from the upper extremities, coming from the upper extremities. Hmm. Okay, literate Zoe. Zoe,
Fasciculus cuneatus po.
that is the fasciculus cuneatus. Okay. So the other one is coming from the fasciculus gracilis is coming from where? The impulses is coming from where? Duran, Chris,
Lower extremities po. Sa
from the lower extremity. So fasciculus gracilis impulses is carrying impulses coming from the lower extremities. Okay, let's go now to the signs, the clinical signs of injury to the lemniscal pathway. So give me one sign of an injury to the lemniscal pathway. Give me one sign of an injury to the lemniscal pathway. Jace Mariel.
loss of vibration sense po.
Loss of vibration sense. What about another example? Another manifestation. Bunag, Sigmund. Bunag, Divine, Del Rosario. Del
Inability to,
Rosario,
inability to recognize limb position po.
inability to
Recognize limb
recognize
position po.
limb position. Okay. So don't forget the tracks, huh? And then let's go now to the different receptors. Let's go now to the receptors and sensation. So the different receptors and sensation, the different receptors and sensation. Let's go now to the receptors for touch. You have 3 receptors for touch, namely there are 3 of them. So ano yung mga yon, guys? Ano yung mga yon? Nicole Soriano.
Meissner's corpuscles po, hair follicle nerve, and Merkel's tactile disc.
Okay. So it is the Meissner's corpuscle, the hair follicle nerve ending, and the Merkel's tactile disc. So always remember, it is the hair follicle nerve ending. Because what is the other nerve ending but is not responsible for touch? It is the what? Bautista. Bautista. Not less. Which one?
Pre-nerve.
Free nerve ending. So if you're given a question and then free nerve ending is there and then you will be asked, example, except doon, sa exception sa apat, tapos lalabas si hair follicle nerve ending, like receptors for touch, except. Tapos nandoon yung tatlong choices na yon plus ilalagay si free nerve ending from the hair follicle nerve ending and free nerve ending. Ang magiging exception doon will be the free nerve ending. Okay? Because the free nerve ending is what receptor? Receptor, yes. Naomi.
For pain po.
For pain. Okay, so always remember those different types of receptors. Another receptor. And from the 3 receptors, the one that is responsible for the light touch is the Merkel's tactile disc. Okay, for the light touch will be the Merkel's tactile disc. Okay, let's go now to the deep pressure. For deep pressure, what is the what is the okay? Um, balik-balik tong iba ah. Where are the others? Are you still sleeping? Okay, Eliza May Santos. Eliza May Santos?
Ulit ko ng tanong.
Oh, I didn't raise your hand. Okay, Kalunsag Edisel. Kalunsag Edisel, what's your answer?
Oscillation coprocicles po.
What receptor? Okay. Okay, you listen properly. This is the receptor for deep pressure. Deep pressure. Magsoling Michaela.
Pacinian corpuscle po.
Pacinian corpuscle. Okay. Another. Receptor for pain. What's the receptor for pain? Johanna.
Free nerve ending po.
Free nerve ending. The receptor for cold temperature. Receptor for cold temperature. Dizon. Lawrence.
Cross and bulb po.
Os and bulb. Okay, what's the receptor for? Give me the two receptors for or three receptors for proprioception. Proprioception. Yuson.
Muscle spindle po, tsaka Golgi tendon organ.
Muscle spindle or Golgi tendon organ. Okay. Another is hot or warm. Hot or warm. Magtanong. Jamaica.
Rufinus nerve ending po.
Rufinis nerve ending. Very good. Okay. Let's go now to the orders of neurons. We have general sense pathways is divided into three, no? We have the first order neuron, the second order neuron, and the third order neuron. From these neurons, from these three order neurons, which one is called the sensory neuron? Yes, Manuel Seth.
First
Yes.
neuron.
First order neuron or the N1. What is the second order neuron? Another name for the second order neuron. Sones Dwine.
Associate,
Okay, sige.
association neuron po or N2.
Association neuron or N2. Okay, so ano pa bang dapat natin? So just remember ha, yung mga pathways, yung mga receptors, yung termination, no? Yung mga binigay ko sa inyo, naalala nyo? Yun ang pag-aralan nyo. Okay? Sa general senses, one moment. Okay, so just listen to this. So for proprioception, it is the Golgi tendon. Okay. For cold temperature, you have there the Krause and valve. For pathway for pain and temperature, we have the lateral spinothalamic tract. And then, if you have a lesion in the upper motor neuron, which one? Okay, anyone, you answer this. If you have a lesion on the upper motor neuron, which one is the manifestation? A, negative Babinski sign. B, hyporeflexia. C, flaccid paralysis. D, spastic paralysis. Yes, Zoe.
Spastic paralysis po.
Spastic paralysis. Very good. Yung pag what type of paralysis will manifest with a lower motor neuron? Yes, Naomi.
Flaccid paralysis po.
Flaccid paralysis. Okay. This is responsible for, one moment. Responsible for a deep touch. Receptor responsible for deep touch. Magtanong. Jamaica.
Hair follicle nerve ending po.
Anyone? Malapit ka na doon, Jamaica. Deep touch. Deep. I said deep touch. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm lost. Pardon me. Deep pressure. I'm sorry. Jamaica, deep pressure. Jamaica. Yes. Pasinian corpuscle. Thank you. Yes, very good. That's Pasinian corpuscle. Okay. Um, for the light touch. For the light touch. Yes, Sigmund. Ikaw yung unang nag-raise ng hand. Light. Merkel's.
Tactile disc.
Merkel's.
Tactile disc po.
Or Merkel's disc. Okay. So let's go now to so wag niyo kalimutan yung pathways, ha? Pathways, yung mga manifestation ng upper motor neuron, lower motor neuron. Ano pa ba? Kasi I do not know now anong itatanong nila. But I think the most common na itatanong nila is the pathways, determination of those pathways, and then manifestations and receptors reception. Okay? So let's go now to please do not miss also those others. Pero mostly sa focus doon is mga different pathways. Ascending fibers, descending fiber tracts, no? So, yun yung mga dapat nyong maalala. Kung ano yung mga different types of ascending fiber tracts, what do they carry, where it is carried, ganun, and where it is terminated. Okay. Basta ang isipin nyo lang, kapag ascending, the impulses there will be going to the brain or to the cerebellum. Pag sinasabi mong going to the cerebellum, proprioception. Okay? Yung mga sensory, yung mga senses na yon, like say for example, the pain, temperature, touch, whatever senses, that is carried by different receptors or perceived by different receptors, it is going to be carried to the brain. Ha? So, kung proprioception, ang pathway, always remember, spinocerebellar. Okay? Balance, spinocerebellar. Okay? Movement, coordination of movement, spinocerebellar. Okay? Yun yung pathway niya. Pag mga sensations, mga receptors to the brain. The relay center is, what is the relay center in the brain for sensation? Sensory relay center, Bunag, Sigmund?
Thalamus po, ma'am.
The thalamus. So always remember, the thalamus is a sensory relay center. Okay, let's go now to the special senses. Medyo marami-rami din itong special senses. Hindi lang. Okay, let's go to the eyes. Okay, so let me just discuss this. So you have the accessory structures of the eyes, which is composed of the extrinsic eye muscles, no, or the extraocular muscles, and then you have the eyelids, the conjunctiva, and the lacrimal apparatus. So the lacrimal apparatus, which is consisting of the lacrimal gland, this is the one that secretes the the lateral the lacrimal gland secretes the lacrimal fluid, which are the tears. Okay, so the tears composed of, or the tears is containing lysozymes, which is what we call as a bactericidal enzyme, which is very important in the reduction of eye infection. Okay? So yung fluid doon na tinatawag natin galing sa lacrimal gland, you call it the tears or the lacrimal fluid, and it contains lysozyme, which is a bactericidal enzyme. No? So when you say bactericidal enzyme, it has to do with fighting against infection. Let's go now to the coats of the eye. So there are three coats of the eyes. What are those three coats of the eyes? Okay, Manuel. Manuel Seth.
Fibrous coat, vascular coat, and nervous coat.
Okay, fibrous coat, vascular coat, the muscular coat, or the otherwise is called the uvea, and the nervous coat. Which one from these coats is contain is which one from these nervous coats uh, is the retina? Okay, um, Son Bernadette.
Yung nervous coat po.
Yeah, what is nervous coat? So the retina is the nervous coat is the retina. Roxanne, what is your family name?
Tabarillo po.
Sabarillo. Okay. From the fibrous coat, there are two, no? The sclera and the cornea. Which one? Okay. Elijah, what is a question? Okay. Let's go now to the fibrous coat. There are two types of two components of the fibrous coat, namely the sclera and the cornea. Which one is what we call as the opaque 5/6, which is the white of the eye? Ocumen Drexel.
Sclera.
Yes, Drexel. Which is the
Sclera
white
po.
of the eye? Ano daw? Drexel. Drexel Mary, what is the white of the eye?
Sclera. Sclera na po.
Sclera na. Final na. Okay. So the white of the eye is the sclera. Okay. So let's go now to the vascular and the muscular. So remember, the posterior 5-6 is the opaque, which is the white of the eye. We call as the sclera, and the cornea is the anterior 1-6, which is the transparent. Transparent sclera is the opaque one, and the cornea is the transparent one. Okay, from these two structures, which is from these two structures is used for transplantation, and this cannot be, yes, literate.
Cornea po.
The cornea. This is the, remember, this is the only tissue in the body which can be transplanted without the worry of rejection, no? Organ rejection. So it is the cornea. Why? Bakit? Bakit? What is the characteristic? Yes, Sigmund. Because, bakit the possibility?
Vascular.
Because it is a vascular. So remember, cornea is a vascular, and this is the only tissue in the body that can be transplanted without the risk of rejection, organ rejection. Okay. What is the middle coat of the eye? Give me one middle coat of the eye. Okay. Lawrence.
Choroid po.
Choroid. Choroid is one of the middle coat of the eye. Remember, choroid is this is a tunic, no, a cover that is containing the dark pigments. No, it contains a dark pigment which is preventing the light to scatter inside the eyes. No, and then let's go now to the this is a biconvex transparent structure that changes its shape during accommodation of the eyes. So when you say accommodation, this is the ability of that eye to focus specifically for close objects. Yes, Lawrence,
Lens po.
that is the lens. Very good. Okay. The colored part of the eye. The colored part of the eye. Christian James.
Iris.
The iris. Your family name, Christian James.
Corona.
Which section?
A21.
21. Again, your family name?
Karanya po. Karanya. Ano?
Just a moment. Hindi ko masyadong marinig. Pirenia. Okay, Pirenia. Okay. Okay, let's go now to the receptors. Let's go now to the receptors. Before that, this is a round opening at the center of the iris. What do you call that round opening? Gatilogorain.
The pupil po.
The pupil. So what do you call that muscle that will constrict the pupil? Bakat Mariel.
Sphincter pupillae.
Sphincter pupillae. So remember, the one that constricts that muscle there, you call it sphincter pupillae. The other one that dilates, you call it dilator pupillae. Okay. Let's go now to the photoreceptors. How many photoreceptors does the eyes have? How many? Hiaot, Gioni.
Two po, ma'am.
Dalawa. Name those photoreceptors. Hiaot, Gioni. Ano yung
Rods,
photoreceptor?
rods and
Rod,
cones po.
rods and cones. Very good. Which one from these photoreceptors is stimulated by high intensity light? Naomi Tehana.
Cones po.
Cones. Which one is the night for night vision? Which one is for night vision? Estrada.
Rods po.
The rods is for the night vision or scotopic vision. Sino yung sumagot uli? Family name?
Estrada po.
Estrada. Okay. So another name for the day vision or the color vision. You otherwise call it what? Yes, Bakat, Mariel.
Photopic po.
Photopic vision. Okay. So let's go now to the refractive media of the eyes. You have there the cornea, the aqueous humor, the lens, and the vitreous humor. Okay? So those are the refractive media of the eyes. The cornea, the aqueous humor, the lens, and the vitreous humor. So remember, you have there the two humors, no? Aqueous and the vitreous. And then the cornea and the lens. So your ano doon, your acronym doon will be CALV, CALV, to remember the refractive media of the eyes. Please try to note it down. Okay, so let's go now to the accommodation to the for the visual for the accommodation focus of the eye. So let's have the different okay. Another name for nearsightedness. Another name for nearsightedness. Yes, Manuel, Sith.
Myopia po.
And this will be corrected very good. And the correction for myopia, Boncales, Cherry Ann, Boncales. Another, what is the correction for myopia? Alconaba, Althea.
Concave lens po.
Concave lens. What is farsightedness? Okay. Noiles.
Hypermetropia po.
Hyperopia. And what is the correction for hyperopia? What lens? Tehana.
Convex lens po.
Was I talking of myopia? I'm talking of myopia, right?
Concave lens po.
Concave lens. Okay, so myopia, nearsightedness, and the correction will be concave lens. And for hyperopia, farsightedness, the correction will be convex lens. Okay, let's go now to the ears. So when please also try to remember if there are nerve lesions, no, especially on the visual pathway or there are visual field defects. Please also remember the the result, no, the defects. So say for example, if you say anopsia of the right eye, the defect there or then the injury there will be the right optic, no? There will be a right optic nerve lesion that could cause anopsia of the right eye. So please try to also to study that one. I'm not sure. I don't know if they're going to ask that, but please just try to scan or to remember those defects. Let's go now to the ears. So this is made up of three parts, which is external ear, middle ear, and the internal ear. Where can you find the labyrinth? Is it in the external, middle, or the internal ear? Bakat Mariel.
Internal ear po.
It is in the internal ear. What are the three bones in the that made up the middle ear or that you can find in the middle ear? Zygmunt Bunam.
Malleus, incus, and stapes po.
Malleus, incus, and stapes. Okay. Um, this is a structure that separates the outer ear from the middle ear. Carl Roy. Tympanic membrane, or you call it as plainly eardrum. Okay? This is a shell-shaped structure surrounding the auditory canal opening. The Rosario Mariel.
Pina or auricle po, ma'am.
Pinna or auricle. Okay, so the inner ear, let's go to the inner ear. This is just a moment. The receptor for hearing. Receptor for hearing. Lawrence.
Organ of Corti.
Organ of Corti. So remember, the organ of Corti is the receptor for hearing. So what do you call the lymph or the fluid that is found inside the bony labyrinth? The fluid inside the bony labyrinth. Jace Marian Reyes.
Perilymph po.
Perilymph. What about the membranous labyrinth? In the membranous labyrinth, Duran. Sorry, Estrada. Sorry, Chris Estrada.
Endolymph po.
Endolymph. Okay. Mhm. What do you call the sensory receptors for hearing and balance? You can find it at the basilar membrane. Yes, Lawrence.
Vestibule.
These are cells. The basilar membrane. These are highly specialized epithelial cells that is in the inner ear, particularly at the basilar membrane, which are the receptors for hearing and balance. I'm talking here of the ears. What cells? What do you call the cells? Sherry Ann Boncales.
Hair cells po.
Hair cells. Those are the hair cells, okay? So remember the receptor for hearing, that is the organ of Corti. Do not forget that one. Okay? So the auditory center of the brain, the hearing area, you call it as the, what is the auditory center of the brain? Let's go to the hearing. For the hearing area, that is Brodmann's what? The Brodmann. For the hearing area. Brodmann is that? Yes, Manuel. Seth. The auditory center of the brain. Yes, Stephen Magno.
Rodman 22, 2,
Broadman's?
22, 40.
Could hardly hear you.
Hello po, ma'am. Broadman's 22, 41, 42, and 52 po ata.
Dalawa lang yon.
Ay, bakit?
It is the auditory center, the hearing area of the brain. What Broadman? Ano yung
41 and
dalawa na yun?
42.
41 and 42. Very good. Okay. There is let's go now to the two types of deafness. You have there the conduction deafness and the sensory neural deafness. Okay? The conduction deafness is caused by some diseases of the external and the middle ear, like impacted cerumen, otosclerosis, or there is a fusion of the ossicles wherein there is an abnormal growth inside the ear. And that is caused by when the vibration of there will be the bone will be unable to vibrate because of the fusions of the ossicle, no, and that is what you call as otosclerosis. Or there is an injury to the eardrum. It could also cause conduction deafness or an infection. If you say sensory neural, there will be a damage to the receptor cells. There will be a damage to the receptor cells of the hearing, which is the organ of Corti, correct? So there will be degeneration. So it could lead also to sensory neural hearing. Now, there are two tests that are used to detect the sense if it is a conduction hearing loss or sensory neural hearing loss. What are those two types of tests? Okay, Chef.
Weber's test and Greeny's test.
Weber's test and Renee's test. Which one from the test is done when the base of the vibrating fork is placed over the mastoid process of the skull? Joylyn de los Reyes.
Ines test po.
Renee's test. Very good. So that is the Renee's test. But the one with the vibrating tuning fork, when you put it at the forehead, you call it Alfonso, Joy,
Weber's test po.
Weber's test. So what will be the norm? What will be if there is a conduction hearing loss? What would be the result? If the hearing loss would be a conduction hearing loss, what would be a result when you use the Weber's test? Yes, Daniela.
The sound um the sound is louder po in the affected area.
The sound will be louder in the affected ear. Okay? Pero kapag sensory neural hearing loss, the sound will be louder in the normal ear. So halimbawa, ang problema mo nasa left, and then it will be louder in the left ear, which is the affected ear. That will be sensory neural hearing loss using the Weber's test. Okay? So the same thing. So when you say normal, with the Renee's test, it could be that is the air conduction versus the bone conduction. So kapag normal, ang air conduction is more than the bone conduction. Okay, so you just need to remember which one is the conduction deafness and which one is the sensory neural deafness. Okay, kung ano yung magiging results sa test na yon. So when we talk of the vestibular apparatus, this is the one that will maintain the body balance, no? The coordination of the eyes, the movements, no? And this is, upon movement, the eyes will remain fixed on a point in space when the head will move. Okay. The copula, this is the gelatinous substance in the crista ampullaris. Okay, so these are the receptors, no? These are the receptors for the balance. You have there the crista ampullaris for the angular So remember, it is the angular acceleration that is the crista ampularis. Okay? And that the one that is stimulated by linear acceleration, that is the macula. Okay? That is the macula. Hmm. Okay, what is the receptor for olfaction? Receptor for olfaction. Yes, Seth.
Olfactory epithelium.
That is the olfactory epithelium. Guys, please remember dito sa senses, just please remember the receptors, okay? Yung receptors, try to memorize all those receptors from all those senses. Okay? I don't mean na yun lang ang i-memorize nyo, but I think you need to focus on this, yung mga receptors. It might be, most of them might be asked. Okay? What is the receptor for the gustatory receptor? The taste receptor, sorry. The taste receptors. Gopes, John.
Taste buds.
Taste buds. So remember, the taste buds are the taste receptors, no? Not the taste for, but the taste buds. Not the papillae. Okay? It is the taste buds. Exception. No. This is the only papillae that does not contain the gustatory cells. This is the only papillae that does not contain the that does not contain, does not have the reception for the different tastes. Sorry, which one? Which one from the papillae does not contain taste receptors? Yes, Carl Roy. Filiform papillae. So please also remember the nerves that is associated, or the nerves that are associated with the taste. Okay? So you have there the vagus nerve, you have there the glossopharyngeal nerve. Okay? So please try to remember those. Where is the gustatory center? Gustatory center. Where can you find the gustatory center? Elijah. Which one? Operculum. Okay, that is in the operculum, or in the opercular part of where? Which part of the cerebrum? Which part of the cerebrum? That is at the operculum, or the opercular part of which part of the cerebrum? Mariel Bacat.
Central gyrus po.
Post-central gyrus. Which Brodmann's area?
Brodmann's area 40.
Brodmann's area 43. Okay. Okay, so um so we know the center for olfaction will be the uncus, the receptor for hearing will be the organ of Corti, receptor for taste will be the taste buds. Okay, I think you have it, most of it. Okay, let's go now to the, ano ba yung last natin na endocrine, correct? Endocrine system, you know. Okay, let's go now to the endocrine system. Sorry, so the endocrine system, we have there the different organs or the different glands. Now, starting from the brain, you have there the pituitary gland and the pineal gland. So the pituitary gland is divided into two parts, which is the posterior pituitary gland and the anterior pituitary gland. Which one from the two parts of the pituitary gland is only for storage? Is only for storage of certain hormones. Yuson, Cristel.
Posterior, posterior pituitary po.
Posterior pituitary gland. Which from the hormones is stored in the posterior pituitary gland? Dizon Lawrence.
Antidiuretic hormone po. Tapos, isa oxytocin po.
Oxytocin, antidiuretic hormone and oxytocin. Oxytocin, what is the target tissue of the oxytocin? Target tissues of oxytocin. Gatilo Gorain. Gatilo Gorain. Target tissue of...
Sa ano po, reproductive po ng women.
Yeah, what is it?
Yung
Maraming parts yun.
uterus po.
The uterus and
The mammary glands.
the mammary gland, which is the hormone that stimulates the production of milk. Lawrence.
Oxytocin po. Oxytocin.
Production of milk. Jose.
Prolactin po ba?
Prolactin. So remember, guys, do not confuse yourselves. The oxytocin is there for the contraction of the uterus, and in the mammary gland, it aids or it helps stimulates the ejection of milk or the let-down reflex. That is when the suckling infant is going to suck the breast of the mother to feed, not during breastfeeding. Okay? So oxytocin is for contraction of the uterine muscle and in the mammary gland for the ejection of milk. While the prolactin is the one that stimulates the production of milk. What part of the pituitary gland where is where the prolactin produced? What part of the pituitary gland is prolactin produced? Yes, Leterte Zoe.
Anterior pituitary po.
Anterior pituitary gland. Let's go to the anterior pituitary. By the way, the pituitary gland is also called as hypophysis or hypophysis cerebri. Okay? Let's go now to the anterior pituitary gland. It is called also as adenohypophysis. It is derived from the cavity called as the Rathke's pouch. Okay? This is the primitive oral cavity known as the Rathke's pouch. Remember the hormones secreted by the anterior pituitary gland. Give me one, Seth. Give me one.
Growth hormone.
The growth hormone. Another. Joylene Reyes.
Thyroid stimulating hormones.
Stimulating hormone. Another hormone. Ocumen. Drexel.
Follicle stimulating hormone.
Follicle stimulating hormone. Dizon Lawrence.
Melanocyte stimulating hormone.
Melanocyte stimulating hormone. Mendoza. Luteinizing hormone. Nicole Soriano.
Adrenocorticotropic hormone po.
Adrenocorticotropic hormone. Stephen. Again. Gonna. Stephen, can you just please write it down? You write it down. Okay. When you say gonadotropic hormone, okay, When we talk of gonadotropic hormones, what are those gonadotropic hormones? Okay, thank you, Stephen. That's correct. Okay, when I talk of gonadotropic hormones, what are those gonadotropic hormones? Gomez Elijah. Very good. So when we talk of gonadotropic hormones, those are the hormones called FSH or follicle stimulating hormone or luteinizing hormones. Okay? And please remember the target organs, okay? The target tissues of these different hormones that is coming from both the posterior and the anterior pituitary glands. Okay? So that will be your guide. What will be the what will be the target tissues for ACTH or adrenocorticotropic hormone? Saverio Magno? Stephen? What will be the target tissue? Lawrence Dizon?
Adrenal cortex.
Adrenal cortex. The target tissue for MSH or melanocyte stimulating hormone. Shannon?
Skin po.
The skin. Very good. So the thyroid hormone, the thyroid gland is secreting three hormones. But one of that is important during that is containing the parafollicular cells. What are the hormones secreted by the parafollicular cells when there is hypercalcemia? What hormone plays a very important role when there is a condition called hypercalcemia? Seth.
Calcitonin po.
Calcitonin. So calcitonin is secreted by the parafollicular cells in the thyroid gland. What are the other hormones secreted by the thyroid gland? Aside from Seth and Lawrence, anyone else? Sino pa? Okay, let me call Kalunsag, Edezel. Kalunsag, Edezel. Jose, Elisa.
Calcitonin po.
Yeah, aside from calcitonin, meron pa yung dalawang hormones na pinuproduce ng thyroid gland.
Thyroxine po. Yung isa.
And
I'm not sure po sa pronunciation. Yung triiodothyronine po.
okay, it is the triiodothyronine or the T3 or the thyroxine or the T4 or you call it tetraiodothyronine. Okay, so those are the three hormones that are secret, the other two hormones that are secreted by the thyroid gland. But kung specific ang tinatanong na pinuproduce ng parafollicular cells of the thyroid gland, that is the calcitonin. Okay? So there is another structure behind or at the posterior part of your thyroid gland and you call it, what is that structure? Yes, Lawrence.
Parathyroid gland.
Thyroid gland. And it will secrete what hormone?
Parathormone.
Parathormone. What will be the condition? What will be the condition where it will be secreted to compensate the production of that mineral? What is that condition? Sigmund?
Hypocalcemia po.
Hypocalcemia. Very good. Okay. So remember, there is what you call as modified neuroglial cells in the CNS. The cells there are called pituicytes. Okay? It is also believed to store and secrete two hormones called Pitocin or oxytocin, you already know the function of pitocin and oxytocin, and pitresin or ADH, okay? Petricin or ADH. It has a vasopressor effect. That is why it is also called as vasopressin, okay? So there are two hormones stored in the posterior pituitary gland, ADH and oxytocin. So you know where ADH is produced, and please also know where oxytocin is produced, no? In the hypothalamus. Let's go now to the pineal gland. What you call the hormone produced by the pinealocytes? Hormone produced by the pinealocytes in the pineal gland. Yes, Bakat Mariel.
Melatonin po.
Melatonin, function.
Promote sleepiness po.
Promote sleepiness. So it has to do with the sleep and wake cycle. Okay, so we're done with the thyroid gland. Let's go to the parathyroid gland. What is the blood supply of the thyroid gland, parathyroid gland? What do you call Mariel? Mariel. Blood supply of the parathyroid gland. Seth.
Inferior thyroid artery.
Inferior thyroid artery. Okay. Let's go now to the adrenal gland. The adrenal gland, the suprarenal gland. There are also, let's go direct to the adrenal cortex. Okay? So the adrenal cortex will secrete mineralocorticoids, glucocorticoids, and androgens. What are the steroids that are, or what are the hormones that are secreted by the these are collectively called mineralocorticoids. So what are these mineralocorticoids, Elijah? Aldosterone and deoxycortisone. What is the function of aldosterone and deoxycortisone or the mineralocorticoids? What are the functions? Seth.
Regulates fluids and electrolytes, and it helps adjust blood pressure and blood volume.
Okay, so please remember also those functions. Okay, so what is produced by the adrenal medulla? What hormones that are produced by the adrenal medulla? Rain Gatilogo.
Adrenaline and noradrenaline.
Adrenaline and noradrenaline. And collectively, they are called what? What is that term?
Yung ano po, benifer,
No, collectively, these two. You call them?
Nervous supply po.
Okay. These two, collectively, if you say collectively, ang pangalan ng dalawang hormones na yon, you call them catecholamines. Okay? The catecholamines are namely epinephrine and norepinephrine. Dopamine is also a catecholamine. Okay? Halimbawa, magtatanong, hormones of the adrenal medulla. Pag ilalagay diyan, aldosterone, deoxycortisone, catecholamines. Ang isasagot mo diyan, catecholamines. Okay? Because that is the one that is secreted by the adrenal medulla. Or, pwede sa choices nila, magiging catchy kasi yan. Pwedeng ilagay nila doon, aldosterone, deoxycortisone, epinephrine androgen. Ang magiging answer mo doon would be epinephrine. Or, kung ilagay doon catecholamines, tapos hindi nilalagay ang epinephrine or norepinephrine, ang ilagay mo pa rin doon is catecholamines. Okay? So remember those hormones named as catecholamines, and remember that is produced by the adrenal medulla. And remember those hormones that are called mineralocorticoids that is produced by the adrenal cortex. Okay? Kaya pag alam mo kung ano yung mineralocorticoids, alam mo na iyon yung pinoproduce ng cortex. Yung mineralocorticoids, yung member ng mineralocorticoids, yung hormones na tinatawag na mineralocorticoids. Yung hormones na tinatawag na catecholamines, ito yung epinephrine and norepinephrine. So you must know those hormones under those group. Okay? So kailangang maalala nyo yon, ha? And also remember the function. Okay, so the adrenal gland, the suprarenal gland, so adrenal gland or suprarenal gland. Let's go now to the pancreas. So the pancreas, the shape is a pistol-shaped flattened organ. Okay, so you already know that is encased by the first part of the small intestine. Remember the endocrine part. What is the endocrine part of the pancreas? What do you call the endocrine part of the pancreas, Seth?
Islets of Langerhans.
That is the islets of Langerhans. Okay, that is the islets of Langerhans. There are different types of cells in the islets of Langerhans, which is numerous of the tail part of the pancreas. And what are these cells? What are these cells? Give me the cells and the specific. Okay, let's go first. Okay, give me the cell, and then later I will ask for the hormone. Okay, let's go first to Naomi. Give me the first cell. Naomi.
Alpha cell po, which secrete glucagon po.
Alpha cell which secretes glucagon. Function of glucagon. Julia. Function of glucagon. Regina Patika.
Increases blood sugar po.
Increases blood sugar. Okay. Another cell in the islets of Langerhans. What do you call this other cell in the islets of Langerhans? Naomi.
Beta cells po, which secrete insulin po.
It secretes insulin. Function.
Decreases
Magno.
blood sugar po. Ay,
Saverio Magno. Lawrence Dizon. Function of insulin.
Decreased blood sugar po.
Decreased blood sugar. Another cell found in the islets of Langerhans. Another cell, Sherilyn Esparago.
Delta cells
Esparago,
po.
Sherilyn.
Delta cells po, ma'am.
Delta cell. Okay, what does it secrete? What does it secrete?
Ano po, ma'am?
Sorry. What does it secrete?
It secretes
Somatostatin.
tomatoes.
Somatostatin. It secretes somatostatin. Okay, F cell. What does it secrete? What does it secrete? F cell. Julia. Noiles.
Pancreatic polypeptide po.
Pancreatic polypeptide. Let's go now to the gonads. What are the two gonads involved in the as endocrine organ? The Rosario Jazeline. The Rosario Jazeline. What are those two gonads? Juanico. Testes and ovaries. What are the hormones secreted by the testes? Gatillogorane.
Testosterone po.
Testosterone, that is the main hormone, no? Secreted by the testes. What is the endocrine portion of the testes? What do you call the endocrine portion of the testes? Giterte.
Interstitial cells of lady.
Interstitial cells of ladies. Very good. Another two hormones secreted by the testes are the dihydrotestosterone and androstenedione. And these hormones are responsible for the production of the male gametes, spermatozoa, and the male sex hormones. So remember, the main hormone is the testosterone, which is responsible for the regulation of the production of sperm and stimulation of the secondary sex characteristics of the male. Okay, for the ovaries, the follicular cells of the ovarian follicle will secrete what hormone? Alfonso.
Progesterone po.
Progesterone. Progesterone is secreted by the corpus luteum but not the ovarian follicle. Okay? So what do you call that hormone that is secreted by the ovarian follicle? Reyes Joylene.
Estrogen po.
Estrogen. So remember, okay? So let me emphasize this. The follicular cells, remember the follicular cells and the corpus luteum, they are in the ovary, okay? But the follicular cell is the follicular cell of the ovarian follicle is the one that is secreting the estrogen, while the corpus luteum is the one that will secrete progesterone. Okay? Now the progesterone there, this is the hormone that is important. Please take it down. This is very important in the maintenance of pregnancy. Okay? This is the one that is very important in the maintenance of pregnancy and in the preparation of the uterus, no, for implantation. That is the hormone progesterone. While 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 estrogen is very important in the preparation of the mammary gland for lactation and the promotion and the development of the secondary sex characteristics. Okay, and that is for the estrogen. Okay, so I think you know the endocrine gland diseases. So you just try to, let's say, the diabetes mellitus. This has to do with the inability of the body to regulate the blood glucose. Okay, so that is when the body does not produce enough insulin. That is leading to diabetes mellitus. Okay, another is for the Graves' disease. It has to do with as this is associated with the increasing level of thyroid hormones. So please try to remember those endocrine gland diseases. I don't know if they're going to ask this, but in case they will ask this, at least alam nyo na ang magiging sagot doon. Let's go now to the blood. Okay, let's go now to the blood. So remember, 3 to 5 lobes ang neutrophils. The eosinophils is bilobed. Okay? 3 to 5 lobes ang neutrophils. The eosinophils is often bilobed. The monocytes, they are kidney-shaped or horseshoe-shaped. Okay? So remember, the monocytes is kidney-shaped or horseshoe-shaped. Let's go now to the questions. Okay. Let's go now to the different formed elements of the blood. Formed elements of the blood, what are those? Rain.
RBC or red blood cell po, WBC or white blood cell, and platelets or thrombocytes.
Okay. So the formed elements of the blood, you have there the RBC or the red blood cells, or you call them erythrocytes, the white blood cells, or the leukocytes, and the platelets or the thrombocytes. Those are the formed elements. So let's go to the red blood cells. So the red blood cells is what? How many days is the lifespan of the red blood cells, John Daniel?
120 po.
120 days. So where is the site of erythropoiesis? Site of erythropoiesis or red blood cell production. Andre,
Red bone marrow.
red bone marrow. This is the protein that is carrying the oxygen. Protein carrying the oxygen. Or bisonisha.
Hemoglobin po.
Hemoglobin. Okay. Which is from all the types of white blood cell that is producing the antibodies. It produces the antibodies. From all these types of white blood cell, this is the type of white blood cell that will produce antibodies. What do you call it? It will produce antibodies. What do you call that type of white blood cell? Remember, there are five types. You have there the three granular and the three agranular. Which one, Lawrence?
Lymphocytes po.
Lymphocyte. So remember, the lymphocyte produces antibodies. We have three granular cells. Granular cells. What are those granular cells? Naomi.
Neutrophils, eosinophils, and basophils po.
Very good. Neutrophils, eosinophils, and basophils. Which is from the white blood cells is increased during allergic and parasitic infection. Increase during allergic and parasitic infection. Serapio Andre.
Basophil.
Another answer. Manuel.
Eosinophils.
Eosinophils. So remember, eosinophil is elevated during allergic reaction and parasitic infection. This is elevated, or this will be the first line of defense, and usually elevated to a bacterial infection. This will respond quickly to a bacterial infection. Ondon, Chenil.
Neutrophils po.
Neutrophils. Okay, so remember the first line of defense, and this is usually elevated or will respond quickly to a bacterial infection. Remember that. This is um, this is the type of white blood cell that will respond to an acute viral infection or chronic bacterial infection. Rain, Gatilogo.
Lymphocytes.
Lymphocyte. So aside that the lymphocyte will produce antibodies, so remember, this is also the one that will stay in the blood longer for several months or years. This will also respond. This will also be elevated during acute viral infection or chronic bacterial infection. Okay, what are the plasma protein that will promote water retention to maintain blood volume and pressure? Plasma protein that will promote water retention. A, globulin. B, fibrinogen. C, albumin. D, immunoglobulin. Jaiseline Del Rosario.
Albumin po.
Albumin. This is capable of phagocytosis when it transforms to macrophage. What do you call that white blood cell? Capable of phagocytosis, and it could transform to become a macrophage. What do you call that one? Lawrence.
Monocyte.
Monocyte. Okay. What is the universal donor? Universal donor. Seth.
Type O.
Type O. Universal recipient. Timoteo Joshua.
Type AB po.
Type AB. Okay. If I say blood type B, okay? If I say blood type B, we're talking here of red blood cells and plasma, okay? When you say red blood cells, what you can find on the surface of the red blood cells will be antigens. When we talk of plasma, what will be found in the plasma will be antibodies, okay? So if I am blood type B, this is now the situation. I am blood type B or I have blood type B. What antigen can you find in the surface of the red blood cells or on the surface of the red blood cell? Seth.
Antigen BP.
Very good. Antigen B. What will be the antibody that you can find in the plasma? Jaiseline Del Rosario.
Anti-AIDS antibodies po.
Anti-A antibody. So please remember those, okay? What do you call that coagulation factor which will convert prothrombin to thrombin? What do you call that coagulation factor that will convert prothrombin to thrombin? This is also a protein or this is a clotting factor that will convert prothrombin to thrombin. Jaiseline. What do you call that one? Sigmund.
Calcium and platelets po.
The coagulation factor. The clotting factor. Rain, Alisa.
Fibrinogen po.
Close to that. Remember, it's prothrombin to thrombin. What do you call that? Jaiseline.
Thrombinase.
Prothrombinase. Prothrombinase will convert prothrombin to thrombin. Okay? Where do you think is the production? In what organ is the hormone erythropoietin produced when there is a decreased oxygen level in the blood? What organ will secrete erythropoietin? Lawrence.
Kidney po.
Kidney. Okay, so when there is a decreased oxygen level in the blood, kidney will detect it and will secrete the hormone erythropoietin. Okay? There are two formed elements or two cells that is not containing nucleus. What do you call it? These are what you call as enucleated cells. There are two of them. What are those? Enucleated cells. Seth. Enucleated.
RBC and WBC.
RBC is correct. Another. Naomi.
RBC and platelets po.
Very good. So remember, enucleated. Walang nucleus, does not contain nucleus. It is the platelet and the mature RBC or the RBC. Okay? When we talk of thrombocytes or platelets, these are coming or these are derived from what structure when they break up? It's a protein. Yes, Seth.
Megakaryocytes.
Megakaryocyte. Okay? So thrombocytes or platelet is a product of the breakup of the megakaryocyte. When we talk of granular leukocyte, we have the neutrophil, eosinophil, and basophil. What are the agranular leukocyte? Sigmund.
Lymphocyte and monocyte.
Lymphocyte and monocyte. This is the percentage of volume of blood sample occupied by red blood cells. Okay? Occupied by red blood cells. Yes, Naomi. This is occupied. So the whole volume of blood there, when you're going to do centrifugation, when you're going to separate those components, that red cells, no, that is occupying the volume of blood sample. What do you call it, Althea?
Hematocrit po.
Hematocrit. Very good. Okay, this will be exception now. So please listen to the question. Components of the plasma. I'm talking of plasma. The components of the plasma except A, water, plasma proteins, B, lactic acid, glucose, C, erythrocyte thrombocytes, D, gases, buffers. What is the exception there? The components of the plasma except water, A, water, plasma proteins, B, lactic acid, glucose, C, erythrocytes, thrombocytes, D, gases and buffers. Seth.
Erythrocytes and thrombocytes.
Erythrocytes and thrombocytes. Okay? What do you call the antibodies found on the surface of the red blood cell of a blood type O? In the blood type O, what are the antibodies found on the surface of the red blood cells of blood type O? Rain.
Anti-A and anti-B plasma antibodies.
Anyone? Try to listen to the question. The antibodies found on the surface of the red blood cell of blood type O. Seth.
None.
None. Remember, there is none kasi wala namang antibodies sa ibabaw ng red cell. This is just an example of when you read a question, try to analyze the question. Associate it with what you know. Okay? So remember, it's only the antigens that you can find on the surface of the red blood cell, not the antibodies. Because where can you find the antibodies? It is in the plasma. Okay? What do you call the RH when you say I am RH positive or it has an RH positive on the surface of the red blood cell? What antigen is found on the surface of the red blood cell? Gopes, John.
RH antigen po.
RH. What do you call the antigen? Jace Marian Reyes.
Antigen D po.
Antigen D. Okay. Let's go now to the cardiovascular system. Malapit na tayong matapos. Okay, what you have to remember are the chambers. What are the receiving chambers? Okay. So let's go to the cardiovascular system. What covering of the heart? Myocardium, pericardium, endocardium, pericardial cavity. Covering of the heart. Myocardium, pericardium, endocardium, magtanong.
Pericardium po.
Pericardium. Okay. The right atrium reserves deoxygenated blood from the following structures except, listen, the exception to, the right atrium will receive deoxygenated blood from the following structures except superior vena cava, inferior vena cava, coronary sinus, pulmonary trunk. Yes, Naomi.
Yung sa coronary po.
It is receiving. Remember that the right atrium will receive blood from the different blood vessels, no? Remember that the superior vena cava and the inferior vena cava is pouring their blood. Remember, sa superior vena cava kaling sa taas, and the inferior vena cava are the deoxygenated blood coming from the inferior part of the body, the lower part of the body. Remember that the coronary sinus is the one that is collecting blood that is coming from the heart. Okay? So it is also included. Ang magiging exception doon is the pulmonary trunk because the pulmonary trunk is going to carry deoxygenated blood going to where? Saan pupunta? Saan pupunta? Elise. Dorothy Jose.
Left atrium po.
No. It's not going to the left atrium. Diba, ang flow ng blood is from the right atrium. Okay, you listen guys. Let us just, eto, para isang ano na lang tayo, parang isang review na ito sa heart. Okay? Eto, ha, para lang magkaroon tayo ng, ano, just want you to have this one. Just follow, okay? Follow lang kayo para magkaroon tayo ng okay, you listen to this para magkaroon lang tayo ng ano, just sharing this. Mag-illustrate lang ako. Yes, Julia. Quick lang ito. Okay, so let's go now to the circulatory system. Halimbawa, magdodraw ako ng heart. Okay? Magdodraw ako ng heart. Eh, hindi naman ako marunong magdraw ng heart eh. Pero dodraw na lang ako ng heart kahit hindi ako marunong. Okay? So, ganito gagawin natin. Itong heart na lang na ito. Naalala nyo yung nag-explain ako sa inyo about the heart. Okay. So, you look at this one. You look at this structure here, ito. The whole thing here, that is the heart, okay? Please follow. Please follow that one para ma-absorb na lahat. So remember, you have here the superior vena cava, you have here the inferior vena cava, and this is the coronary sinus. Superior vena cava, galing doon from the head and the neck, and from the other parts of the body, will go to the superior vena cava, yung collection ng blood that is deoxygenated. From the inferior vena cava, coming from the visceral organs and from the lower extremities, doon ang gagaling, upper and lower extremities, doon ang gagaling sa doon nang gagaling ang deoxygenated blood. So remember, it needs to go to the lungs for oxygenation, di ba? Pero bago siya makarating sa lungs, dadaan muna siya sa heart. Okay? So, from the superior vena cava, inferior vena cava, dito ang inferior vena cava, ito ang superior vena cava, doon papasok, no? Doon siya ang magdadala ng circulated na deoxygenated blood. Going to the receiving chamber, you call as the right atrium. Dito. The blood that is collected, that is coming from the heart, will be collected by the, or will be brought by the coronary sinus. So si coronary sinus is the main venous drainage ng heart. Dito din niya ilalagay sa right atrium. So all those deoxygenated blood will be poured in the right atrium. So, lahat ng deoxygenated doon sa right atrium. Okay? Intindihan, guys? Okay? So, yun yung ano doon. Ngayon, remember, ang flow ng blood ganito. Ang flow ng blood is ganito. Let's go to this one. Let's go to this para mas maunawaan ninyo. The flow of the blood will be like this. You see, superior vena cava, inferior vena cava, coronary sinus. There is a coronary sinus somewhere here. Okay? Here, dito, coronary sinus. Diyan. Now, the flow of the blood all oxygenated blood will go to the right atrium. Okay? From the right atrium, it goes to the right ventricle. Okay? Ano what do you call that? Valve there between the right atrium and the right ventricle? Seth,
Tricuspid valve.
this one. Tricuspid valve. Okay? Galing dito, there is a valve there to prevent the backflow of the blood para hindi siya babalik doon. So, kailangan ang tricuspid valve dyan. Okay? So, from the right ventricle, this is the pulmonary trunk. Ito yung tinatawag nating pulmonary trunk. Yan. Yung area na yan. So, the pulmonary trunk is going to carry deoxygenated blood going to the lungs, passing the pulmonary artery, which will be the exception now. Kasi ang alam natin, artery is the one that is carrying oxygenated blood. But remember, in the exception, si pulmonary artery ang magdadala ng deoxygenated blood coming from the right ventricle, passing the pulmonary trunk, which is now going to divide into right and left pulmonary artery. Kasi dalawa ang ating lungs. So, pulmonary artery going to the right and the left lung for the oxygenation of the blood. Naintindihan, guys? Okay? And there is a valve there between the right ventricle and the pulmonary trunk. And what do you call that valve? What do you call that valve? Sorry. Yes, Naomi.
Pulmonic valve po.
Pulmonic valve. So, ang pangalan dyan is the pulmonic valve. Okay? So, that is the valve. So, you have to remember this. Yan ang pag-unawa dyan. So, from the lungs, babalik siya. Always remember, babalik pa rin yan sa heart. So, galing siya, deoxygenated, pupunta sa heart, passing this, going there, no? And then to the lungs. From the lungs, it goes back to the heart, passing now the pulmonary veins. So, exception na naman siya. Pulmonary veins, doon na naman dadaan yung oxygenated blood. Okay? Ang collecting chamber this time will be called left atrium. Atrium pa rin siya, pero left side. Okay? Going to the left atrium, from the left atrium, oxygenated blood will now go to the left ventricle. Okay? And then this will be passing a valve again to prevent the blood from going back to the atrium. So what do you call that valve between the left atrium and the left ventricle? Okay, Andre.
Bicuspid or mitral valve.
Bicuspid or mitral valve. Okay? So that is what you have to remember. Ano yung mga valves na yon? And then from the left ventricle, it will now go to the systemic circulation, passing this valve here. It is now going to go to the aorta. Okay? Doon muna siya sa aorta. What do you call that valve there between the left ventricle and the aorta? Joshua.
Aortic valve po.
Aortic valve. Okay? So, yun. Yun yung magiging circulation natin. Okay? It needs to go to the heart, to go to the lungs. From the lungs, it goes back to the heart to be pumped, going back to the circulation, to the systemic circulation, so that oxygenated blood will be distributed to the different parts of the body. Naintindihan? Okay? So that is the circulation. Remember the valves and the chambers. And remember also, kung maalala nyo, itong part na ito, let me just go back. Ito. The transmission of the impulses. Remember the impulse conducting system. Una, You have there the sinoatrial node, which is, remember that one, that is the pacemaker of the heart. Okay, this is where the impulses or the action potential will originate from or will come from. Okay, this is the pacemaker of the heart. Second station, atrioventricular, then you have the bundle of his, and then the subendocardial network or Purkinje fibers, which will be, this will now be distributed, it's now distributed through the heart, no? So, ito yung magiging impulses niya to allow the heart to contract. So, remember, dito tayo. The first heart sound is the closure of the AV valves. Ano yung AV valves? What are those AV valves? Atrioventricular. So, those valves between the atrium, right and left, and the ventricles, no? Kasi may right and left ventricles din tayo. So, between the AV valves, so, right ventricle, right atrium, right ventricle, left atrium, left ventricle, yun yung mga valves doon. Yun yung tinatawag nating AV valves. When it closes, it will produce the first heart sound. When the semilunar valves, what are the semilunar valves? Guys, what are the semilunar valves? Seth?
Pulmonic and aortic valve.
Pulmonic and aortic valve. So when it closes, it will now produce the second heart sound. The S3, you call it ventricular gallop, and the S4, you call it atrial gallop. Okay. Remember the P wave, atrial depolarization, that is the contraction of the atrium. Okay? This is the contraction of the atrium. If you say QRS complex, this is the contraction of the ventricles. You call it ventricular depolarization. When the heart will start, or when the ventricles will now start to relax, okay? And it will start to relax, there will be ventricular filling. This is what you call as the ventricular repolarization, represented by a T wave. Okay, it's represented by the T wave. Okay, so those are from the electrocardiogram. Remember the arteries, the veins, and the capillaries. Okay, which one there is carrying the deoxygenated blood, oxygenated blood, and where the exchange of gases will happen, or the substances that will be in the capillaries. Okay, so we go here. Tapos na tayo dyan. So remember yung differences ng different types of blood vessels. Okay? So yun lang naman guys. Yun lang naman ang ano doon sa cardiovascular. So just remember the valves, the unpaired. What is the blood supply of the brain? Okay, what is the blood supply of the brain? Anyone? What is the blood supply of the brain? Yes, Naomi.
Internal carotid artery and vertebral artery po.
Internal carotid artery and vertebral artery. Okay, there is another question here. This is the main venous drainage of the abdominal. Remember, abdominal visceral organs. So this is emphasized, no? Is it the coronary sinus? Is it the portal vein, superior vena cava, or inferior vena cava? Zoe.
Portal vein po.
Portal vein. So remember, abdominal visceral organ, portal vein. Remember also those remnants, no, of those structures during the fetal circulation. That's like, say, for example, the fossa or the umbilical vein will become ligamentum teres hepatis, or the fossa ovalis. Where does it come from? Yung mga yun, yung mga remnants, please remember those. Okay? So yun lang guys. Just try to, yung mga sa blood vessels naman, sandali ha, ano pa ba yun? I think that's all. That's also least meron na kayong mga ideas which one where you're going to focus and naintindihan. As long as you remember the circulation, maalala nyo yon, yung mga terms na yon. So please study well, my dear students. Study well and I wish you good luck sa exam ninyo. And I have already the names here for those who answered. I will just call those who did not answer. So please just give me your, please say present, okay? Please raise your hand and please say present if you are around. Sorry. Ba't ko ba pinintong sarili ko? Sorry, guys. I have to unpin myself. Ano ba nangyari? Ba't ko nagpipin sa mga inyo? I need to unpin myself. Okay, so please raise your hand. Nangyari dito, ba't ako nagpipin? Okay. Ito yung iba na check ko na ha. Ito yung iba na check ko na. Okay? So yung mga tumasagot kanina, you will have additional points. Okay, so hahanapan ko to. Most probably doon ko ito ilalagay doon sa mga quizzes nyo. Okay, let's go now to the section 21. Please say present and raise your hand. Amerna, Kayla. Amerna, Kayla. Arellano, Pomar. Arellano, Sofia. Bakat, Berdin. Berdin. Hannah Berdin. Wala? Hannah Berdin, wala? Wala din si Amerna, no? Kalinasyon. Kalinasyon. Kalunsag. Okay. Dakanay, Daniela. Dakanay, Daniela. Wala? De Los Reyes, Joylyn. No, she was also answering. Fediles. Fediles. Frias, Keith. Keith. Frias. Gugorza, John. Gugorza. John Cedric. Gugorza, wala? Okay. Gomez. Giliona Gomez. Ito mga tinatawag ko lang ha, yung mga hindi ko na-check kanina. Liosa Hana. Liosa Hana. Hana? Liosa. Wala. I'm already checking the attendance ha. Huwag nyo na akong habulin mamaya. Nolasco. Nolasco. Okay. Paguagan. Paguagan. Paguagan, wala? Mark? Yan. Okay. Pineda. Pineda? Pineda, wala? Piquero. Piquero. May. Reblando. Reblando. San Miguel. San Miguel.
Present po.
Okay, Sones Dwayne. Si Sones kanina, I saw you. Torrevillas. Torrevillas. Okay. 23, Adam. Adam? Wala? Anastasio. Anastasio. Bobadilla.
Present.
Bobadilla. Ashley. Kaburao. Kaburao. Johanna. Castro. Castro Ashley. Castro. Concepcion. Concepcion. Francesca. Cruz. Chloe. Cruz. Chloe. Fabrigaras. Fabrigaras. Florentino. Florentino. Wala? Florentino. Foliante. Foliante Maria Isabel. Gante. Gante Ramsel. Gregas Mark. Gregas Mark. Gregas. Wala. Ginto. Ginto Clarence. Ginto Clarence. Ladisla. Ladisla. Legaspi.
Present
John.
po. Present po.
Okay. Mangkoy, Ira. Mangkoy, Ira Venice. Wala. Moratilio, Milka. Moratilio, Milka. Wala rin. Okay. Pagalawan, Princess. Pagalawan, Princess. Pangan, Cassandra. Pangan, Cassandra. Polaw, Princess. Polaw, Princess. Okay, Punsalan. Julia, Punsalan. Punsalan, Julia. Wala. Kiambao, Sabina. Sabina, Kiambao. Wala rin. Rebolado, si Althea kanina, I saw you. Trinidad, Paulo. Paulo. Valdez, Alea. Alea Valdez. Okay, that's it. Thank you for today. So class dismissed. You may go now.